Xbox had a games showcase. Let's go over some of those announcements. Hi, welcome to ZGadgetReview. With the lack of E3, Xbox had its games showcase where they pretty much announced all the games that we can expect for the rest of the year and what they're working on for next year. Now, I'm not going to go over every single announcement because it was a very long showcase, but I did do a live stream and I also made a video out of that. So if you want to check that out, it's going to be in the channel and I'm going to link it in the description section. Now let's talk with one of the biggest announcements. The biggest announcement, of course, was Call of Duty Black Ops 6. This is the first year that Xbox/Microsoft are going to be publishing the game. Now, one of the announcements about this game is that on day one, you're going to have access to everything that the game comes with. Before, if you knew PlayStation used to have exclusive weapons and skins, and then also when it comes to the beta, PlayStation always had exclusivity period for the beta. Now what they're saying is that you're going to have 100% parity with everybody. So the days of exclusivity for PlayStation players, it's gone. Later, we had that touted, big, gigantic Call of Duty Direct, which was the biggest, dumbest thing ever. It was a total of 20 minutes of total BS. All right. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to take that back a little. I'm going to rein it in a little bit. It wasn't total BS. There was some actual things that were interesting, but those things we could have had with the announcement of Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which actually took place during the regular Xbox showcase. We didn't need all the crap that they ram into for the 20 minutes of their direct. So some of the new things that we're going to be getting on the new Call of Duty is movement. The movement is going to be more fluid. It isn't going to be so restricted. One of the cool things that they show is that when you're in prone position, you can actually do a 360 turn and end up on your back. So if you are playing the game, usually if you're in prone position, you're down flat on your belly like this. You can only go side to side or back away. You can never go turn around and shoot up. So that is a change that they're making, which is a good change because it makes sense. You're going to be able to run in different directions. If you remember when you're running in the game, usually you can only go straight. Now you're going to be able to go left, right, while you're running, where you're sprinting is what they call it. That's some of the changes. The other changes supposedly is you're going to have the highest quality in graphics. You're going to have the highest quality on the hands of the model when they're holding the weapon. And all this BS that really amounts to a lot of nothing. They talked about what the game is going to be, like the storyline of the game. It sounds to me a lot like Black Ops 5, but they're making it seem like it's something brand new that you've never, ever played before, which sounds like a bunch of BS. So it seemed very padded, and the direct seemed like a waste of time. Again, I did the live stream, so I'm going to include that in the description section if you want to watch it. That was the thing that people were waiting for. But there were some surprises. So we had a look at Perfect Dark or Perfect Dark Zero. This game is being rumored that it was dead in the water, that it has been reworked, that it has been restarted several times. Well, seems like Xbox has been hearing the rumors and they want to put a stop to it. And we got to see some gameplay, we got to see some cinematics for the game, and the game looks pretty good. Now, we don't have a release date for this game yet, which kind of makes you wonder if maybe all these rumors are true and they had to rework the game and restart it several times, which is why the game hasn't been released yet. But at least we know that the game isn't dead. At least we know that it's a game that they're working on and that development is ongoing. So I am thinking that this game, based on what I saw, and since we didn't have a release date, I'm going to say that it's probably going to be a 2026 release. Flight Simulator. Last year, Flight Simulator announced that they're going to come out with all these modes. You're going to be able to be like a charter pilot, like a private charter pilot. You're going to be able to do like rescues. You're going to be able to do like crop dusting and all these other things. We hadn't seen anything about this this year yet, and they actually announced it again, and they actually gave us a release date that is going to be available this year in November 19th, 2024. There's a lot of things that this game is going to become. If you're tired of just flying an aircraft, now you'll actually be able to game, they're gamifying flight simulator. Now let's talk about another surprise announcement. Another surprise announcement was Gears of War 6, or Gears of War E-Day, which stands for Emergence Day. And if you're not familiar with the Gears of War lore, and I wouldn't blame you, this game hasn't been out in a long time. There's been a few years since 5 till now, right? And Gears of War 1 was years, many moons ago. Emergence Day pretty much is going to take place during the events of when the Locust Horde came into planet Earth, or whatever planet it is that Gears of War takes place. I don't even remember. But the original game took place after the events of Emergence Day. So you were technically fighting the Locust after they have already come out from underground and you're trying to defeat them. So Emergence Day technically is a prequel to the original Gears of War. Now, this was only a cinematic trailer. We didn't have any release dates. We didn't have anything. It was kind of one of those teasers where they tell you, we have this coming out at some point, get ready. Now, the game is going to be using Unreal Engine 5. It's going to include over 100 times more environment and character details than Gears of War 5 or Gears 5. It's going to also have hardware ray trace lighting, reflections and shadows, next generation destruction and gore, and cutting edge animation technology, to name just a few of the countless improvements that will make Gears of War E-Day an unrivaled visual experience. So we have that to look forward to whenever that game gets released. Starfield, yes, Starfield made an appearance on this event, and they finally showed us the Shattered Space expansion, which didn't really say much. It just show environments and different fights and things like that to me don't really amount to much. Now that is going to release later this year in the fall, but they were announcements that were shadow drops, so things that are available today when I'm making this video, today when the Xbox showcase took place, and that is June 9th. So you're going to have new gear and bounties. We're going to have the addition of creations, which is another word for official mod support. Now, this new community creations addition to me kind of look like a microtransaction store based on the trailer. And as you can see here, that kind of looks like a microtransaction store to me. Not very exciting, but that's what you can expect in Starfield. If you're a Starfield fan and you log in today, you'll be able to download that today. Now, Shattered Space is going to have an extra cost if you didn't have the deluxe edition that includes the DLC. If you play the game through Game Pass, you're going to have to pay for that DLC. We don't have pricing yet. Another game that I wanted to hear more about is a game called South of Midnight. In 2023, they released the trailer for this game. There is a girl talking to a man who's playing a guitar, and he plays a song. It was a cinematic trailer. There wasn't any gameplay or anything. This year, today, we got an actual cinematic and gameplay trailer, and also a release date. Now, this game, I really didn't know what it was about, right? It looked interesting based on the original trailer, but today when I was watching the trailer, I was actually sold on this game, and I cannot wait to play it. This game is going to come out in 2025. We don't have an actual solid release date. It just said 2025. But it looks like you're going to have combat, you're going to have different magical powers, you're going to be able to fly. The trailer just looked really interesting to me, and it really, grabbed me, and it made me interested in playing this game. So whenever this game comes out, I am going to definitely try it out. Now, Doom Dark Ages was a game that was rumored to be shown on today's event, and it was. Doom Dark Ages, it's a prequel, and it seems like it has a medieval setting based on the trailer that we saw. Now, it looked interesting. It seemed like we had some gameplay, but I don't know if it was actual gameplay or just cinematics to make it look like gameplay. but the game looked gory as always. You have this shield that has these blades around and it seems to turn into like a chainsaw type thing. The game looked really cool and interesting, and this game is going to release in 2025. Again, we don't have a specific release date. We just know that it's going to be available sometime next year. Now, if we are going by the leak of documents that we saw from the Bethesda Xbox trial that happened, we know that this most likely is Doom Year Zero, because Year Zero will, be the beginning of something, then therefore this being a prequel. Based on those documents, then we can expect some DLC to come with this game. So it looks like this game is not going to be a close-ended game like previous Dooms. I'm thinking that this is probably going to be something that is going to be bigger, and it's going to have a lot more like modes and content to having the game continue going into the future, and not only have the campaign, you're done with the campaign and you are done, right? That's what it seems like. It seems like Doom is going to be built into something that can be sustainable, if you want to call it. Of course, we're going to see more information on this next year, and it will be interesting to see if the information that we get next year about this game matches what we saw in that leak. Fable was finally shown off. We got gameplay, we got cinematics. The cinematics were similar to the ones that we saw last year. Last year, if you remember, we had this kind of like, it looked like a one-on-one interview with a guy with glasses, and he's talking about giants and things like that. Today, we kind of got a similar type of trailer where there's this guy talking about the girl, the protagonist of the game, and how she came to him to get some help and stuff like that. And we did see some gameplay. The game actually looks really, really good. Graphics, it looks like an actual next-gen game. It looks like a game that is going to be pretty fun to play. And again, it's going to be available in 2025. No release date, but we know that it's coming. Let's talk about a stinker, because this really was a head scratcher. Like, what are you doing? So Indiana Jones, we know Indiana Jones was announced. We know Indiana Jones is coming out this year. And they had this super long trailer for the Indiana Jones game that really showed nothing. It was a bunch of cutscenes, a bunch of cinematics showing you that it's going to be in the vein of Indiana Jones, but there was very little gameplay. There was very little on story. It just was a bunch of vignettes of saying like, oh, look, classic Indiana Jones being all like verbose and smart ass, and it's like, all right, well, I'm not looking to show me that this is going to be an Indiana Jones game with an Indiana Jones tone. I'm looking for you to show me what this game is going to be. I'm looking for you to show me if this game is going to be worth my time. And with this trailer, I'm scared for this game, because the cinematics look good. Okay, the cinematics look really good, but the actual little bit of gameplay that they show didn't look as good. It didn't match the cutscenes. And the fact that they're not showing us gameplay with this game coming out later this year in the fall is a little bit of a concern, because it makes it seem like they're not confident on what this game is going to play like, but they're confident on what this game is going to sound like and look like when you're looking at the cutscenes. If this was an animated show for Indiana Jones, this would have been great. If this was an animated movie for Indiana Jones, this would have been great. But it isn't any of those things. It's a game. Show us gameplay. They failed at that, and to me, Indiana Jones is probably going to be in trouble when it comes out. Another game that was announced was State of Decay 3. State of Decay 3, we didn't have a release date. They showed us a cinematic trailer with some parts that kind of look like gameplay, but I wasn't sure if it was actual gameplay or just cinematics to make it look like gameplay. I'm not very familiar with the State of Decay franchise. I know State of Decay 2 came out years and years ago. And so if you're a State of Decay fan, you know that you have a new game to look forward to. I'm assuming probably in 2025 or 26, since there wasn't a release date. And finally, we had some hardware announcements. Unexpected hardware announcements. So it is true that we're going to be getting a beefed up Xbox and a digital Xbox. So we're going to have a digital Xbox Series X. So the digital Xbox Series X is going to be exactly like that Xbox Series X that exists right now, that is $500, except it's going to be white and it is going to be missing that disk drive. 1 terabyte SSD, and the price is going to be $450 for that. So technically, that Xbox Series X normal is going to get a price drop from $500 to $450. So a $50 discount there if you've been waiting to get this machine. It's a little more affordable now. We already knew this from the leaks that we saw that I referenced earlier. We knew that they were probably going to release something like this. And they actually have, again, with the Xbox Series S, 1 terabyte edition. It is going to also be in white, and this one is going to cost $350. So if you don't want to spend the extra $100 for the Xbox Series X, which I personally would, because as we know, the Xbox Series S is not as good as the Xbox Series X, despite what people might want to say. The truth is being proven and proven again. Like I said at the beginning when this whole thing was announced, that the Xbox Series S cannot compete with the Xbox Series X and what games are going to be nowadays. So Xbox Series X, in my opinion, shouldn't even be sold anymore. I know why Microsoft sells it is because it sells the most because it's so cheap, but it is damaging development of games. That is the truth. That is the problem. Don't buy it. There is going to be a bump up. The bump up is going to be the Xbox Series X 2 terabyte. That is going to cost a whopping $600. This is going to be literally the Xbox Series X that exists right now for $500. This is going to have a disk drive, but instead of you getting 1 terabyte, you're going to get 2 terabytes. You're paying technically an extra $150 to get 1 terabyte more. And you are actually not saving that much money if you buy the digital version of this console. Why? Because the digital version of this console, the Xbox Series X digital, is going to retail for $450, right? I'm sure there will be discounts at some point down the line. But the thing is that right now, the extra memory for Xbox, so the extra little hard drive that they sell, is $150. So if you were to buy the digital version of this console, the new white digital version of this console for $450, and then you went and put the memory card for $150, you're paying how much? Yes, that's right, $600. So you're paying $600 to get 2 terabytes technically, except that one is a detachable memory versus having the memory in the machine. So technically you're not paying the same amount of money. This color is going to be called Galaxy Black. They're calling it a special edition Xbox Series X. Now, these consoles are going to be available holiday 2024. If you go to Xbox website, the ad is there if you want to read more about this. Now, the other thing that we learned on this event is that we are going to get a next-gen Xbox. Yes. So the next-gen Xbox is being worked on, and that comes from Sarah Bond, who actually told us that they're working on a next-gen Xbox. And the reason why I think this was said is because there's been so many issues this year with the brand of Xbox probably dying and going away and all this turmoil business-wise that really Phil Spencer and Xbox have done a really good job at quelling people's doubts on the system. And so I think that the reason why they put that there is to let everybody know it's like, hey, Xbox isn't going anywhere. We're working on a next-gen console. So just and let's keep working and moving on this business. All right, so what do I think about this event? I personally think that Microsoft did an okay job. It is impressive to see how many studios Microsoft has, because most of the announcements on this were first-party announcements. There were very few third-party announcements. Like they announced Metal Gear Solid, but we knew that was coming. And so I will say that was the thing that was most impressive to me, to see how big Xbox now is. 2025 seems that it's going to be a big year for Xbox. There's a lot of games coming out in 2025 that people have been waiting for and hoping for. Fable, Doom, all these things that are going to be coming out. So 2025 is going to be a big year for Xbox. If I had to rate this conference, I will give it a 7. I'm going to give it a 7. It was good on announcements. It was like fast-paced, boom, 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 boom. There were some things that were kind of like, why are we doing this? Like Black Ops separate event that was a bunch of BS. So yeah, that's how I feel about today's event. You tell me, what do you think about today's event? What would you rate Xbox's showcase? Are you looking forward to any of the games coming out this year and next year? Let me know in the comment section. That is it for me. Go ahead and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, it really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.